It is Friday, October 23rd, 2020, and this is the newly named iPhoneography podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show, and yes, it is a newly named podcast. Let me explain. So, as you know, I was a co-host on the Tiny Shutter podcast, and podcast has wrapped things up and will no longer be a show. And it saddened me to say that because I had so much fun with the guys. And by all means, go to look at the back catalog, listen to some older episodes. There's a lot of fun that we had, and it was just, it was the longest running podcast about iPhone photography. And there was others that came and went, and they just, for whatever reason, they didn't make a go of it. But Tiny Shutter was on the air for, I'm going to say, 8, almost 9 years. And, it's one of those things where, life starts getting in the way, and, listen to the latest episode and you'll hear Mark explain everything about why he's closed it down, and maybe there's some stuff in the future to look forward to. So, but he has handed the torch over to me as far as doing an iPhone photography podcast. So that's why I changed the name of this show from the Artful iPhoneography Interviews to the iPhoneography Podcast, because we're not going to do just interviews. It'll be news, apps, how-tos, just about anything that I can think of with regards to iPhoneography. And I couldn't think of a better way to start than by talking to an old friend of mine. And when I say old, I don't mean old in age, but I've known this chap for about 35, 36 years. And we've been doing photography together on and off over the years. And he has recently started into iPhone photography to go along with his DSLR work. And I would like to welcome to the first official episode, I guess you could say, of the iPhoneography podcast, Mr. Randy O'Hara. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good. I'm a little upset.
A little upset?
Yeah, you didn't offer me the first interview on the AIPC, but I guess it's redemption.
Yes, it's redemption.
Yeah, it's funny how things turn around and go. Like, I totally enjoy listening to the Tiny Shutter podcast. I totally enjoy listening to yours, and I can't wait to see what you do with it.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Dave Podner from the Tiny Shutter crew is probably going to be co-hosting for quite a few of the episodes in the future. So, it'll almost be like one of those episodes of Tiny Shutter when nobody can make it but him and I. So it's going to be good.
How long have you been on the Tiny Shutter?
I think I started sometime in 2016. I think it was October 2016, so it would have been 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly. And Dave, he started, I would say, almost a year before me.
Right.
But Joseph, he was there almost from the beginning. But Mark and Matt Hoffman, Mark Zazowski was the co-founder, and Matt Hoffman, those guys were in it from day one. And There was another fellow named Keith Tharp, who he was the other co-founder. Him and Mark started it, and they thought of it, and then Matt Hoffman jumped on board right away, and it just went from there. And it was the longest running podcast that was dedicated solely to iPhoneography.
Right.
So I'm really proud and honored to carry the torch and move it forward. And just it's always changing. It's something that I'm passionate about. So
Yeah.
it should be fun.
I remember when you first went on the Tiny Shutter, and it's probably the first time I ever heard of Tiny Shutter because at that time I wasn't into iPhone photography or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have listened probably from the day you started. I probably listened to it at least every episode within that month period anyway.
Hmm.
And I'm impressed on how much your confidence has grown talking from the first episode to now.
Oh yeah, I was a nervous wreck before.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job, and I
Oh,
really,
thanks.
I really, how you say it? I really, although we're losing the tiny shutter, which is fine, I guess that's happens, but moving forward with this podcast to see what you do with it, I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And truth be told, I had done Tidy Shutter for say almost maybe 3 years and a bit before I started this one. And
Right.
the funny thing is, when I started this one, I was a nervous wreck all over again
I
because I didn't.
understand
I
that.
mean, I think I only hosted Tiny Shutter as the lead host maybe once. And then when I started this one, I thought, okay, now I'm in it by myself for it's the real deal here. And I had to learn. I had a great teacher. My first guest was Mary Walker. Um, I mean, that woman is amazing. She really, really helped me, get my nerves calm and taught me how to make things flow and take control of the show and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I owe her a major debt of gratitude.
That
Um,
that was the first interview you did with AIPC, Art Focus.
yes,
Yes, yeah, I
yeah,
remember that one. And she
yeah.
interviewed
That's
you.
where me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
had I had her on a few shows later to talk to her,
yeah.
but yeah. So I mean, it was a learning curve for me. But it's been a one man show. I do the website. I put it up on iTunes, the whole
Oh,
nine yards.
I know you do. You do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate it.
that's a lot. That's a lot of commitment and a lot of work that a lot of people don't realize how much goes into that.
Yeah, yeah. It's time consuming, but you know what? I got a workflow down now, and generally I can once the recording's done, when I sit down to edit and post, I can have it done in about 2 or 3 hours altogether. Like I'll get up and take a
Yeah.
break now and again, but yeah, it's coming along pretty good. So, but that's enough about me. Let's talk about um, for those who don't know, and that's going to be probably most of the listeners, but you and I, we go back like
Oh
pretty
gosh.
much to the time I started working at the same
Yeah,
place you do. Um,
absolutely. I can
we are
remember.
both, yeah, we're both pressmen. We both operate presses in the printing industry, and uh, boy, it's been a long run doing that, isn't it?
It has. It has. And to see the print media change over the years and the quantities and changing and the page counts and the size, which is the size of the magazine,
Hmm.
and to the point where we don't do a whole lot of magazines anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's almost like you can almost say it's like film to digital. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not quite gone away yet, but the web and online magazines sure are hurting us.
Yeah. Yeah. They sure are.
Yeah, for sure.
But fortunately for us, there and for the company that we work for, the retail side of things is really going strong, and that's a blessing because it sure keeps us in a job, and people want to see those flyers in the mailbox and everything else, um, and I don't see that going away anytime soon. So
No,
uh,
and we have good management that can
we
can
do.
sort of foresee the future.
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of publications coming back into our print facility,
Hmm.
and I'm really excited about that
Yeah.
because you and
Yeah.
I both do high quality magazine work, and now that I'm doing the covers,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
so I mean, I'm pretty excited about that as well. But enough of that.
Yeah. That's shop talk of the wrong kind.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah.
okay, so you have I mean you do some DSLR photography and I mean you've sold some stuff. I mean it's not it's not obviously what you would call to the point where you can make a living on it,
Yeah.
but
No.
it's
Yeah.
but you're getting yourself out there. And lately, you've been starting into doing a little bit of work with the iPhone. So, how did that kind of really get started?
Well, one of my best friends sold all his DSLR equipment and bought an iPhone.
I don't know who the heck that could have been.
Anyway, okay, so I've been really kind of passionate about the iPhone since I've got the iPhone 11 Pro.
Yeah.
The what I do with my workflow, and I can get into that a little bit later. I wasn't being able to do what I wanted to do with the images with the iPhone, I don't know, 5 or 6, 5, I don't know what I had, 7 maybe. I wasn't getting
Yeah.
the quality I wanted for it, the
Hmm.
reproduction.
Yeah.
But I was down in Toronto taking pictures with my DSLR, and I didn't have any issues, but I noticed a lot of people looking because you got the big white lens on it and the
Yeah.
our body. Everybody's wondering if you're a paparazzi or whether you're a professional or what you're doing, or if, So I looked over to my left, and there was a guy with an iPhone taking pictures, and not one
Hmm.
person looking at him.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I still had my iPhone, maybe a 7 then. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think it was a 7. So I was like, okay, I'm not getting what I want on my iPhone. Then they announced the 11, 11 Pro, and 11 Pro Max, and with three lenses. Uh, I just knew that was the phone I needed. So I
Yeah.
bought that phone specifically for street photography.
Hmm.
And I bought that in, I think, September or October when it came out.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to Toronto. I messed around with our city, but then of course the COVID struck this year, and I haven't been to Toronto since. So I really haven't used it for what I wanted. But I'm gonna tell you, when I go out with my DSLR, because I take it, and this is my number one, my
Hmm.
DSLR, which is a Canon, and my bigger lens, I leave the smaller lens at home. I just take my iPhone.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So we were up in Algonquin, which is a provincial park here in Ontario, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I took 450 pictures with a DSLR. Now you don't keep them all, but I took that many.
Yeah.
I took 195 with the iPhone,
That's a
right?
pretty good ratio.
I thought so,
Yeah.
and I didn't have to change lenses,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
That.
you got the three lenses. I don't go past the 2 times zoom because I don't want to get off the optical.
Right.
I find the 2 times zoom is fine. As you know that I was up at Bon Echo Provincial Park in Ontario, and I got the Comet. Right? Did
Oh,
you see?
yeah. Yeah.
I got the
Yep.
Comet with the native camera. Right?
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
use my DSLR. I never even took my
Yep.
DSLR that night.
Because obviously with night mode, why not, right?
Well, that's specifically why I took it.
Yeah.
I didn't go out to photograph the Comet. I went out to photograph just to play around with the night mode.
Oh, yeah.
Then I didn't even know I had it until I put it on my desktop.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and then it's like I said to Marine, "Oh look, I got the
Yeah.
I got the Comet."
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah,
Because I
so
tried to get it with my phone, forget it. Not even
yeah, but I
close.
think you
Wasn't
were a
happening.
couple of weeks after me, and it might have been a little dimmer then.
It was, but I mean, I
Yeah,
can't really even like I've tried doing like just getting stars with it, and it's
right.
not
Well,
it's not great for that.
you get that 12 Max Pro, you'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been using that basically for like all summer, anyways, as my regular lens. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
take
very
it
interesting
because
because
if you're doing something relatively close, I
Mhm.
think it's just as good as a DSLR, and I hate to say it, but maybe even a little bit better. The way it, the way it, how do you say it? It puts the when it makes the JPEG, and
Yeah, yeah, the way it
it's
processes.
perfect
Yeah.
every time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's and it just keeps getting better.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, and now you have deep fusion uh built into it, which is um not so much for landscape stuff, but if you take a picture of your wife and she's got a
yeah.
sweater on, you're going to see the detail in that sweater so much better. Probably so much better than you would if you put a wide angle on your DSLR.
Right.
Um,
Well, what I've been doing because we've gone out and we've shot mushrooms, right? Uh,
yeah.
fungi,
Hmm.
and I'll put it on portrait mode,
Oh,
and I'll
really?
photograph those mushrooms in portrait mode
Hmm.
because I feel it's a lot more detail than using a two time zoom on the back of the camera.
Right.
Like it you almost have to do one of each to see the difference. But like
Yeah.
when you do a portrait mode, they want you within a certain range. I'm not sure what that is, maybe 2 meters. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll tell you
Five
you should
five
be
and a half feet or something. Yeah.
5.5 feet. You should be relatively close. Well, I get right up close. I get to like
Yeah.
8 inches. And and the cool thing I found out is you turn the camera upside down,
Yep.
right? I put it on the ground. I slide it up to the mushroom, so that's upside down. I look at it on the screen. I tap it where I want the focus, take
Yep.
the shot. When you take the phone back and look at it, it automatically rotates,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The accelerometer and all that stuff in there is just amazing
Yeah,
how it works.
that's
Yeah.
which I don't think it did that before the 11. I don't remember.
Yeah, because my 10s Max does it.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
so it must have came out sometime after the 7, maybe. But
Oh,
anyway,
you couldn't do that with the 7?
not that I'm aware of, because I never really
Oh,
played that much with it. I only had one camera anyway, right?
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
counting the front one. So
Right.
anyway, so that's what I do with the iPhone is I put it right down on the ground, 6 inches from the
Yeah.
subject, tap it, take the shot.
Well,
And
I did that with a mushroom
mhm.
just a few weeks ago, and it's a really cool way to bring out the detail on the underside of it to get the
Oh,
little
absolutely.
fins and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And it gives you an angle that I think
yeah.
you
Yeah. Like
really
there's not
can't get with
nothing.
a big DSLR.
Right. Yeah.
So
There's nothing cooler than a worm's eye view, right?
yeah, so Maureen, that's my wife, Maureen. Her and I were biking a rail trail, and I seen all these ferns along the side of the rail trail, and they were only up about 6 inches, right?
Hmm.
So I slid the phone at the stem. You know how you take pictures of forest and you look straight up at the top of the trees. You take the picture
Oh yeah.
and you get
Yep.
the trees sort of bellowing in the middle. I did
Yeah. The
that with
can.
ferns that are only 6 inches tall, and they look like they're 35 feet long.
Oh,
So
really?
the ground, I put the timer on it. I believe I used halide. Halide have a timer. Anyway, I tapped the timer so it would be 5 seconds.
Oh
Boom,
yeah.
took a shot, and I looked at it, and it looked just like you were taking a picture of a forest straight up, and they're only like
Cool.
just tall. I was
Is
just
that
playing.
is that on Instagram or Flickr?
I don't know if I posted it actually.
Because I don't recall seeing it,
Yeah, I don't think
and
I
I'll be honest
posted.
with you, I turned on notifications for your pictures on Instagram, so
Yeah, no,
I don't
I'll have
recall
to look
seeing
that.
it.
I'll have to look that up. So I don't think I posted it, but I was really really impressed with how that turned out. So I really enjoy experimenting with the iPhone and
Hmm.
trying, with the, I don't have the accessories that you have.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so my usage of the phone is when I have the camera is strictly for the camera. That's why I
Hmm.
bought. I mean, a phone's a phone, right? If it rings and
Yeah.
answers, send text.
Yep, that's right.
When you get your 12, you can have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You have a lot of fun with it.
Pre-order isn't till for another 2 weeks yet
Okay.
on that one.
Okay.
So it's going to be at least 3 weeks, hopefully not longer, but when I actually have it. So,
Yeah.
um, so you mentioned Halide. Do you use any other camera apps that you can
Yeah.
recall?
My favorite one is called, of course, a Spectre. I just can't
Oh
get
yeah,
enough of that app. That is probably the most single useful app I use.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's pretty
just-
cool. I used it today.
well, I've seen some of the stuff you've posted last week and a half or so, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's what I like about my favorite story about Spectre is my wife and I were at Hogs Falls last autumn, and there was a guy set up with a big tripod and this great big Nikon DSLR, and he had the lens on there and the filter, like it looked like a uh, probably a 10 stop filter, and he was doing long exposures of the falls, obviously.
Yeah.
I walk up there and right next to him, and I look down, being careful not to tap his tripod with my foot or anything else, and I knew he wasn't taking a shot, so I just leaned up,
Hmm.
took a 3 second exposure with Spectre,
Yeah.
and I was looking at it, and then I could just feel him looking at it over my shoulder, and I looked over at him, and he was looking, and I said, "It's amazing what you do with these things, eh?" And he couldn't believe it. He couldn't get over it. He was
Yeah.
blown away.
It's all exposed properly. The colors are there. The water, what you're trying to capture was there.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I have a
yeah.
similar story. I on this rail trail there was a dam between two lakes, and there
Hmm.
was a fellow with his tripod set up, and he's working away trying to get his filters. It was a sunny day as well, getting his
Oh
filters
yeah.
put on the front of the camera, and so I walked down. I didn't walk beside him. I'm not that crude, but I walked down and took my phone, snapped I think maybe a 5 second exposure, looked at it, and I says to me, "Okay, I got it. Let's go." Meanwhile, I had my DSLR hanging off my shoulder with my strap, but
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it was in a great location. But okay, I got the shot. Let's go. But
Oh, that's funny.
you do know that when you hold the Spectre, like you can stop at any time, right? You
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
go
You get
five or
like
three times.
I generally try to. Sometimes I'll just do like a third of a second. I'll just tap
Yeah,
tap real quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Spectre is when you tap it, you can
Hmm.
actually see what's happening, and you can decide that's what I want. Boom.
Yes.
It might be
Uh,
4 seconds.
but you can do that afterwards too. Right in the Photos app, when you look at a Spectre image, it shows up as a live photo, and
Right.
then when you hit edit, one of the things you're presented with is at the bottom, um, all the different frames
Oh,
in the exposure, and you can select your key photo, so you can drag it back to be a lot shorter exposure, and then make bang, then that's your
oh, I
key
see what you're saying.
image.
It's like
Yeah, it's
it's like a
same with
film
the live
strip.
photo. Hey.
It's like a film strip.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
and
You
you
just pick
and the
once.
works the same with a live photo right from the
Oh,
native camera app too.
oh. You know why you know that? Because you edit in your phone and I don't.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I rarely edit anywhere but the phone. Just totally immersing myself in the mobile experience, I guess. But
Yeah.
um, so you mentioned Halide, but
You're right.
they just released a couple of days ago Halide Mark II,
Okay.
and that's what I was playing around with today. Giving it a good testing and whatnot. And there's a lot of cool features in it, kind of redesigned a little bit. And it has a self timer now, whereas I don't think
Oh,
before it did.
okay. Maybe I'm seeing a different app then, because when I want the self timer, I can't find it.
Oh, yeah.
I look all over, I can't find it, but then I find it and I use it.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah. So Halide, is that one of the ones we pay for?
yeah,
Yeah. I don't.
if you already had it though, you don't
Yeah.
have to pay for it again.
Oh, I could upgrade it.
Yeah, you could just upgrade it.
Oh, okay.
Now they do have a subscription model. I'm going to do a whole show on this Monday night coming up,
Okay.
but they do have a subscription model, or you could pay a one-time fee and be done with it.
Hmm.
It's like $13 a year or something like that,
Yeah.
and you get, these extra features and things like that. Whatever it is they've put in it. But before I even finished reading it, I just paid the one-time fee. Done.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
cost me something like $42 Canadian, but I've got it forever. I don't have to worry
Yeah, I
about
was gonna
anything
say,
else.
that's forever.
Hmm.
So if you,
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm I really support uh, subscription-based products if the cost is reasonable. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
you're
and
paying,
if you justify it, right? If you could use
right,
it.
exactly. So you're paying $45 and you use it, and that's a lifetime. That's well worth it,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'd like to get back into a little bit about the iPhone itself.
mhm.
And to me, it's okay. So a little bit of my background is just for the folks. I'm also the president of the camera club. I didn't throw that in as a punch, but
No,
I'm trying to get people in the camera club to realize that their mobile phone, regardless of the manufacturer, is also a camera.
sure.
And
Yeah.
and Greg knows I promote photography within the club, and it doesn't matter if it's an iPhone, a Huawei, a Samsung, what do you call it, iPad. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you take it's what you do with the image. And so one of my issues early on, back when iPhone 5s and 7s were were popular, was everybody was jumping on the apps and they were all having the same style of picture.
Yes.
You know what
The
I mean?
filters and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Like, to me, I had an issue with that because to me, photography is you sit down, you take your photo, you edit it, you do something with it, and you print it or you upload it to one of the social medias, whatever. But
Hmm.
you actually spend time with it, and I didn't like the fact that with a slider you could make it look like this or make it look like that, and everybody was doing it. I mean, oh my gosh, they all look the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was my problem with the phone using it as a camera was because I felt it shortchanged the photography world of what photography is.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
Right.
That's a fair statement.
But
Yep.
as the iPhone and the other phones progressed and the apps matured, I mean, I know they still got some bold, funny apps out there, but as the
Hmm.
apps matured and you can do more, you got Lightroom now on as an app. Everybody loves Snapseed. Maureen, she uses the Snapseed,
Yeah.
and I don't, but she does, and she does some great stuff with it. And it's not the same as what Greg would do with his Snapseed. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
So I'm all for editing photos on a phone. If you want to, take it and do something with it, I'm all for that. I just don't like the idea of sliding stars in a daylight shot and making reflections and there's I'm just not into that. And
Right.
then put goofy what do you call it, layers on it and stuff like that. But if you were to take a photo and sit down and edit it, whether it's on an iPhone, iPad, mobile phone, or the computer, then I support it. So that's what
Hmm.
I was doing was I was supporting the camera on the phone as a camera,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I do. My phone is the camera. I take the photograph and it sits on there. And unless I'm somewhere vacationing and I want to throw it up on the internet to let my friends know where I am or what I'm doing, or this is a cool shot, have a look at this.
Yeah.
I don't generally edit them. I leave them on the computer and I upload them to the Lightroom app,
Oh yeah.
right? Then when I get
Hmm.
home and open my desktop, they're already there.
Yes. That's the nice thing about it.
Right.
About Lightroom.
Mm-hmm. So and so then I download that image onto my computer, and then I use the Lightroom Classic, which is a subscription base,
Hmm.
and then that's when I edit it and I put it, and they're mixed in with my DSLR photos.
Oh
I
yeah.
I named them iPhone 11 Pro, so I know that they're the
Okay. Yep.
iPhone phone. And then whatever, a moose at Algonquin on January the 14th, 2020. My
Right.
my my names are quite long, but at any rate, that's what I do. And then I separate the my phone and my Canon files. But they're
Hmm.
all, if I take 5 pictures of my camera, my Canon camera, 5 pictures, and I take 4 pictures of the iPhone 11. When I import them, they all go in the same folder. That's what I'm trying to say,
Oh yeah.
right?
Okay.
So that's part of my workflow. And then of course I go into Lightroom and Photoshop and have my way with them.
Yeah.
But
And that's I would say that's not uncommon. I mean, Sebastian DeWitt, who is the designer
right,
part of the team behind Halide, he does all his stuff on the computer.
yeah,
Um,
I
like
just know,
I'm sure he probably edits some on his phone, but he prefers to do it in Lightroom on the computer.
yeah, and it's what you're comfortable with,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And I'm not really comfortable doing an edit on my phone with the small screen we have, where
Yeah.
I like to dodge and burn and like to do some other things with it. So,
Yep.
and I specialize now to sharpness in certain areas. So
Oh yeah.
to pull that up an iPad probably can get away with it. I thought about that several times. Are they going to make an iPad 12 Pro?
I don't know.
Anyway, I thought,
It's a weird release schedule, but
yeah, I thought an iPad would probably be my limit, right? I would probably do it
yeah.
with an iPad. I have an old iPad, but anyway, so that's kind of like my simple workflow for me. But because of that, it's allowed me to say to people, "That's a camera,"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
is.
Absolutely.
So I think that the people who, it's just an iPhone. Somebody walks up to a vacation spot, takes a picture of like Niagara Falls with an iPhone, and you look at it and say, "Oh, it's just an iPhone." But you don't know what that person's going to do with it,
Yeah, exactly.
right? That person can take it back to his hotel room with a laptop, and next thing you know, it's social media shared around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
yeah, no, I've really come a long way with the iPhone, and to the point where I probably use it about a third of the time. Probably a
Yeah.
third
Well,
of the
you
time.
know what? That's a pretty good ratio. I mean, the Canon stuff is phenomenal. It's really high quality, high resolution, things like that. I mean, I've been to your house. I've seen some of your enlargements that are almost the
Yeah.
size of a wall, and they
Yeah.
look fantastic. Um,
Thanks.
but with the iPhone, you can get probably a good you know 24 by
Yeah.
without losing any quality.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Especially
eh?
especially now with the
Yeah,
11 Pro, probably your 10.
yeah,
Well, you did a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
enlargements with your
Oh
10.
yeah. Yeah, as soon as they put the 12 megapixel sensor in them, it made it so much easier to get a larger print.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, when you look back at I think it was when the iPhone 6S came out, um, a guy by the name of Austin Mann out of Texas, I think it is, um, was on the Shot an iPhone campaign, and they put one of his images from a waterfall in Iceland on a 30-story building.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, yes, of course, when you look at it from 5 feet away, you're not going to
Yeah.
see nothing but great big dots the size of a basketball. But looking at it from the other side of town, that's an iPhone image hanging off the side of a building.
That's pretty cool.
So I mean, it's printing is. I mean, you and I know printing. We've been doing it for years. Printing is a whole different game,
Yeah.
but you can achieve a lot in printing if file prep is everything, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. And it's funny because Maureen and I are working on a project for next year for a local gallery,
Oh, nice.
and I'm thinking already that we're each probably going to do maybe 5 images each, and they're going to be a fairly large image.
Hmm.
Maybe smallest one might be 11 by 16 type thing. They're all going to be fairly large. And right now, looking at my photos, 3 out of 5 might be iPhones.
There you go.
I'm totally
Yeah.
happy with what they've done, what they come out with. I don't have to mess around with them too much to get what I want.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking that it'd be a good avenue to show what an iPhone can do.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
the colors are there, and something I haven't mentioned is when I import them from Lightroom or I do it as TIFFs.
Hmm.
You shoot raw. I haven't got into that yet. I don't understand it yet with the camera. We'll have a
Right.
discussion on that at another day.
Yeah.
But because I would like to shoot raw, but right now I just send them out as TIFFs because I'm not really editing them a whole lot. So I don't feel I need the raw at this point.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I say, we'll sit down one of these days
Oh,
and I'll show you why I shoot raw. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna make you want to start shooting
yeah.
raw.
No doubt.
But raw's not for everybody, so don't send any hate mail, everybody. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, these cameras, they do make some absolutely gorgeous JPEGs or hikes or however you want to save
Yeah.
your files. Um, but I've just found a real benefit in RAW with the quality of an image. And again, like Randy and I, we've been in the printing industry for years, and we've been looking at images for over 30 years each, and we know what it takes to get a good image. So, that's why I do that. But um, okay, so you mentioned the gallery. Is there any place else you'd like to see your iPhone photography go? Like, you've sold some DSLR images in the past. Ever have aspirations of selling some of your iPhone work?
Yes. However, I haven't spent a lot of time um, developing them for that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. There's a different process for
Oh,
developing an image for social media than there is for printing.
oh yeah.
And I'm not afraid of doing it. I'm going to do that. And hopefully this this little display or exhibit we're having next fall,
Hmm.
I really want to do some iPhone images. So I think I got like 3 that I really, really like.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wouldn't mind doing a collaboration with someone, get into another gallery and do another exhibit that way.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little bit bigger. The problem I have is I'm not one of these people that sit down and only shoot mushrooms.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. You do a variety of stuff. Like, I mean, I'm
right,
talking a variety.
yeah, I don't just do one thing. So to throw an exhibit together where it should be themed on something, I
Yeah.
don't have the many images I feel that I could put that together with.
Right.
Maybe street photography and architecture. I love architecture,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
is great with the iPhone. That is incredible doing that stuff with the iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I interviewed a gal from I think she's from Texas, Michelle Simmons, who is an absolutely incredible architectural photographer. Um, just amazing. I'll send you a link to her Instagram,
Sure.
and you'll see what I mean. Like, she's just amazing with what she can do with an iPhone and buildings. I mean, it helps to be able to, like, if we lived in Toronto, it would be a
Oh,
breeze.
oh
Around
yeah.
around here, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
We, we,
Yeah.
we live in a small city of like 22,000 or whatever, but
Yeah.
um, not a lot of big buildings in our town to
Yeah.
play around with that with. But
And
yeah, yeah, architecture.
I haven't been out of this city to another city since April.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, really.
I've been to provincial parks.
Yeah.
Each month I take a week and go up there on our days off. I go
Hmm.
somewhere, but I haven't been to Toronto, Hamilton, Waterloo, Kitchener,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I really miss.
yeah,
See, when you get this, especially when you get this phone specifically for doing that kind of thing, and
yeah. And then all of a sudden, this thing hits us, and yeah, we're
I,
kind of
I love
stuck.
the
But
phone anyway. Phone's great.
yeah,
So, So it is.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm so glad that you came on. Sorry, I didn't get you on first, but
Well, I thought,
you're the first for the iPhoneography podcast. And even though we know each other, we work at the same place. We're different shifts,
right.
so we don't see each other a ton. But um, it was great to be able to catch up and hear your story about how you got into it. And uh, I mean, I look forward to seeing more. And um, but yeah, we will definitely sit down and I'll go through my raw workflow with you
Yeah, I
and
like that.
things like that. And
Sure.
um, so you have a website. Where can people see some of your stuff?
I do. I have a website. It's rohphotos with an S .online.com. That's
No,
my
it'd be just
website.
online, isn't it? Just is it
Um, yeah,
rohphotosonline.com?
yeah, rohphotos.online.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that
I'll
would get.
I'll have it in the show notes. But and your Instagram handle?
Well, on Instagram, I'm an ROH photographer,
Okay.
and I also have ROH photography Facebook page, although I don't do a whole lot with it, but
Oh yeah.
it does come up. And of course, on Flickr, just with ROH photos or Randy O'Hara, and it'll pop right up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll have links to those in the show notes, and people can go to iPhoneography.ca, the new website name, and when you go there, you'll see artfulipc.com at the top. But if you go to iPhoneography.ca, that'll take you there, and you'll see the entry for this interview with Randy, and all the links will be there. For some reason, I can't get them to show up properly in the Apple Podcast app. I don't know why. I
Huh.
emailed a guy about that one time, and he said it's something to do with my content management system, and I'm not going to change it now. But
Yeah.
in other podcast apps, it seems to show up fine. But in the Apple Podcast, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway,
Yep.
yeah, I'll definitely have the all the links to your social stuff and where we can see your work, DSLR and iPhone in the show
Yes.
notes. And,
Yes. It's mixed.
oh yeah, yeah, and that's fine. I
For
mean,
sure.
hey, photography is photography, right?
But when
Uh,
I go on, when I put on Instagram, I'm more apt to put the iPhone tag in before I put the Canon tag.
right.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'll upload an image and I'll go to bed and go, oh, I didn't put Canon on it. But I always
Oh
put
yeah.
iPhone. I always put. So are you going to change the tag for Artful IPC on Instagram as well?
Well, you know what? The community still lives, right? So
Okay.
the artful iPhoneography community is still alive. It's on MeWe,
Okay.
um, and I I may change the name of it. I don't know yet. I kind of like to leave it the way it is because um, I'm so grateful for Warren Opheim who started it all.
Right.
And he handed me the keys there about a year ago or so, and
Mhm.
and I kind of, I want to, as an ode to him, I'd like to keep it maybe the same, and that way I'm not, trying to change too much at once here, um, but I decided to change the podcast name because it's going to be basically what Tiny Shutter was, and it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So I was fortunate enough to get iPhoneography.ca as a like a web domain.
Right.
I couldn't believe it was still available, but anyway,
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, but I'm going to continue with interviews and stuff like that on this show, and they will hopefully be coming out a little more regularly because the interviews it's just depends on when I can line someone up to do one. But with just general chit chat about iPhoneography, I can do that. I'll probably do it every 2 weeks.
Right.
Um, I'm pretty sure Dave Podner is going to come on board as a co-host, and but Monday night is going to be all about halide. I don't know if Dave uses it that much, but we'll talk about that and other things. And when I do get my new iPhone, the 12 Pro Max, I did a show last week, I think it was, with Dave and Cielo de la Paz. She's a she's a lot really into video,
Right.
more than she is photos. But she's out of California, and she loves to talk about stuff like this. So we talked about the announcements and whatnot, and she's got a Pro probably now. I think she may have gotten it today. She couldn't wait. She wanted the Pro Max, but she couldn't wait, so she got the Pro, and I think she's going to get the Pro Max anyway. But when I get mine, we've agreed that we'll all meet back on there again and talk about what we can about them, and how much we like them, and how much we're drooling and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
look for that in the future. Yeah, so you could find me on Instagram at Macmillan Photo. I'm on Twitter at Macmillan_photo. And I'm back on Facebook, and that's a bit of a story in itself, but you can find me in the Tiny Shutter Facebook group. And for any local listeners, you can find Randy and myself in the Owen Sound Camera Club Facebook group. It's the OSCC group. And that's where I start putting my stuff to show the world. So thanks again, Randy. I really appreciate it. Don't hang up when I sign off here, because we can still shoot the breeze a little bit. And stay tuned for the next one.
All right, can I wait?